Greetings, family. So I'm here today to share with you some information that I received. I mentioned that I was going for a medical appointment with the traveling nurse. Apparently, they don't feel the need to do these things virtually, which doesn't make any sense to me. They actually want you to come into the office and speak to a medical professional, and she discusses with you your travel plans, basically your medical history, to find out if you may have certain sensitivities that would be more of an issue for you, or certain medical challenges that might be more of a problem for you as a traveler into certain areas of the world. So I wasn't eager to go in. And as a matter of fact, when I tried to get there yesterday, I had let Aman, my son, borrow my vehicle because he had a flat tire. And he came back just in time for me to kind of make it to my medical appointment. But you know how that goes. I made a wrong turn. It made me later than I thought I was going to be. And I called her and she was like, no, we need to reschedule. So I was like, whatever, okay. So I went yesterday instead. And she gave me some information. I have to tell you, when I left, I didn't feel any better about what I was thinking about. So let me tell you what my initial intention was, if you don't recall. So my logic is to take care of all of my medical appointments, primary care physician, which we call PCP in the States. For the women, gynecology, right? Go get checked, make sure all the parts are okay. There's no issues. Get that mammogram referral if you haven't had one. Colonoscopies if you're of age for that. All of those routine checks to make sure that there's nothing serious going on inside that you might be missing. And for me personally, it was time for all of my annual exams. So I figured, well, let me take care of this stuff while I still have my insurance here in the States. So go to one doctor. They want to refer you to specialists to follow up and just make sure it's not an issue, whatever. So when I went to my PCP and I said, listen, I was thinking about the malaria medication, because in my mind, malaria is an issue on a continent. So I would like to take my medication with me so I'm not running around looking for stuff. So the way that they promote the malaria medication in the States is that they want you to take it preventatively. That means every day you're taking this medication. That's not what I had in mind. In my mind, if I get malaria, then I'm taking the medication to address the issue. They don't do it that way. They do it preventatively. Their logic is that if you get malaria, it can come, I guess, up through the spine and affect the brain and all this other kind of stuff. So it can be serious if it goes untreated. So I guess for me, it was more of a concern because I know that my son got bit when we went the last time, and I saw him kind of get a little sluggish, but we had been taking some herbs and preparing for our trip prior to going. We were doing the neem tea. We were sipping on teas. We took immune boosters, elderberry. Like, we were all prepared for COVID, but, so we had some of those herbs in our system. So he was able to get something over the counter and he was fine. After, I'm going to make sure he does his medical appointments before I leave, and that his insurance is already in place. So let me just tell you, let me get to the point. So I get to her office and she's asking me all these questions. What medications are you taking? What medical challenges do you have? What physical challenges do you have? Because I used to have a lot of medication for my back. I was in couple of car accidents, and you know how that goes. It gives you like the medication patches, they give you creams. I have the what do you call it, the TENS unit, the thing you plug up and it runs electrical stroke. But I haven't used that stuff since the accident, but I still have it, and I plan to bring those things with me to the continent because I imagine that someone will be able to use them if they have a medical challenge. Okay, so I talked to her and she finally starts breaking it down. Like, the different types of malaria, which I don't think I realized there were different types of malaria. And the medications. Let me tell you about these medications. So it's a summary of prescription drugs for malaria prophylaxis is what they call it. So one of the drugs is called mefloquine or Lariam. And in areas where chloroquine resistant malaria has been reported. So this is malaria that is resistant to one of the medications, and they recommend this other medication. Didn't know that either. They want you to take it orally once a week. I guess, and it's like 250 milligrams, and they even have the dosage for children as well. Then they have another medication called Malaria, and this is also in areas where that chloroquine, that other medication that I'll be talking about soon, is also resistant. And this one, you take 250 milligrams, and then you take 100 milligrams of something else. Now, this is something that you do daily. Like, you have to take this medication every day, right? Now we're going to talk about this other medication that is resistant in the other two areas that I talked about. In areas where there has been no resistance reported, they recommend this chloroquine, or Aralen, it's called, 300 milligram base orally once a week. Now, let me just say, I'm not giving medical advice. That's not what this is about. I'm making you aware of what medications are being offered to me as a personal choice if I choose to take medication. Okay. So, and this one also comes as a syrup, or it comes as pills, I guess. Then they have this other stuff called doxycycline, an alternative to mefloquine. Now, mefloquine was the second one that I talked about, where I said you take it once a week. And this one is an oral dosage as well that you take daily. Now, here's the deep part. When she told me about these medications, she also told me about the side effects. So I'm like, you're saying that you either have to take it once a week for the duration of your stay wherever you are, or you're taking it every day while you're there. Listen to the side effects. Okay, let's see. For travel to areas where chloroquine resistant P, falciparum exists, use mefloquine. This is recommended. Minor side effects observed with this prophylactic dose. Listen to these minor side effects. Gastrointestinal disturbances and dizziness tend to be transient and self-limited. To minimize the possibility of an upset stomach, you should take it with your evening meal. Mefloquine is not recommended for use by travelers with a known hypersensitivity to the drug, a history of seizures, serious psychiatric disorders, or significant cardiac conduction disturbances. If you are pregnant or taking beta blockers, your physician should determine the safety of mefloquine. Come on, y'all. Do you hear this? Basically, what they're saying is if you have a history of seizures, any kind of mental health, like depression, anxiety, we know many of us have some of those issues, right? Or any kind of heart issues, you shouldn't be taking this medication. And they make the side effects seem like it's nothing. Gastrointestinal, you already know if you've ever had any kind of stomach problem, nobody wants to deal with that on a daily basis. And dizziness, who wants to walk around feeling off balance all the time? That's not a way for you to enjoy your repatriation. So that was one of the medications she talked about. That was the second one that she recommended. The first one, which is supposed to be the better, I think this is the one that you take weekly. But the side effects for this one are same thing, upset stomach, you have to take it with food or a milky drink. Then they talk about if vomiting occurs, you may take a repeat dose of the Malaria within 1 hour. So you tell them I may take it and end up vomiting it up and I need to take more of it. That doesn't make sense to me. Okay, and they talk about it causes headaches, and abdominal pain. These are some of the minor side effects. Come on. And that was the number one choice. Okay. It says, let's see, this is not recommended for use in travelers with a known hypersensitivity to the drug or with severe renal impairment. So now we're talking vision issues, right? Renal refers to the, issues with the eye. Simultaneous use of Malarone and tetracycline, Reglan will decrease the effectiveness. So then if you're taking other medications, this medication could decrease the effectiveness of your other medications. Yeah, I'm telling you. Then this last one, this was a doozy. This was a doxycycline. That was the last one I mentioned. If the ladies may be familiar with this one, but this is one that would cause like yeast infections. So hold up. You trying to tell me these medications will make you dizzy, upset your stomach, and give you a yeast infection? Does that sound like a dream repatriation? Because it doesn't sound like one to me. And now I see why people do not go for these medications, because if they have other issues, they can't really do it. I have to tell you, after, speaking with her, I really was just like, I don't even know if I want this medication as a backup now. I really was just going to get it because I thought I would be prescribed pills to take with me that I could use in case of emergency. But their logic is you should be taking them every day preventatively. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. So that was one of the things. That was the medications. That was probably the most important thing I wanted to get out the way. And then the other thing was, let's see, they give you a sheet that is malaria information for travelers, right? It says, if you will be visiting countries with malaria and may be exposed to malaria, it can progress rapidly and be dangerous. And we talked about that. And so they talk about, ways to reduce your risk. Stay in accommodations that have screens and windows and doors, right? Go indoors from dusk to dawn. So like they telling you don't be outside, right? Which we know, I don't know how that's going to happen because you're going to be out in the community. So you know what, y'all, give me 1 second. I think I need to adjust this light.